Hey guys, Zack here, and this is my review of Danny Phantom. Okay, so this episode, Memory Blank, is the Season 2 premiere, and it's kind of a really good one because not only does it explore Danny and Sam's friendship a little bit more, but it also reveals Danny's origin story and how Sam is kind of a major part of it, apparently. So, the episode kind of opens up with Sam, Danny, and Tucker on their way to school when Sam and Tucker decide to stop by the newest dealership to gawk at some new SUVs, which of course Sam is not appreciative of because obviously she thinks they're going to be late. And do note that the boys just tell her that it's a cool car and that she should look into it. But then she actually looks into it, learning that it has owl leather and is for many different reasons. She points out that the car is a massive environmental hazard, and she does point out that it's probably not a safe thing to drive. But in case, Sam then proceeds to tell Danny that maybe he could use his ghost powers to, create the ability of, sending his, But in case, Sam then proceeds to suggest that maybe Danny should use his ghost powers to terrorize the car park and scare people away from it, so that, nobody wants to actually buy the obviously environmentally unfriendly SUVs. But of course, Tucker proceeds to point out that that they really shouldn't listen to her ideas some of the time because some of her ideas have actually gotten people in a lot of trouble. Case in point, it is revealed that Sam is the reason Danny has ghost powers in the first place because she apparently. We do get a flashback here, but apparently she was the one who encouraged Danny to go into the faulty ghost portal and start exploring around inside of it, which ultimately caused him to become Danny Phantom and gain his ghost powers. And of course, Sam points out that ultimately worked out for the better because what we find out is that Danny's suit used to have a logo of Jack's face on it, and she pried it off of him and points out that if anything, he should be thanking her because without him he would never have become a superhero in the first place, and obviously he's gotten pretty good at doing that. But of course she once again suggests that the idea that Danny uses his ghost powers to terrorize the car park. But when Danny makes it clear that he's not going to be doing that and continues to just gawk at the cars, she decides that she's going to just go to school and see them there. But also then proceeds to remark that she wishes somebody would destroy those environmentally unfriendly SUVs. At which point we discover that Desiree is actually free from the ghost zone and is chilling out in the sewer, and she admits that she was waiting a long time for Sam to finally make a wish. At which point she uses her abilities to bring a massive cow mascot from the she uses a cow mascot from a local. I don't know what she brings it to life from, but she brings a cow mascot from some sort of local brand thing to life, and it proceeds to smash the SUVs. And Danny, realizing he now needs to, step in and stop them before it destroys the remaining SUVs, does decide to go ghost and ultimately fight it, which results in him and Tucker becoming covered in ectoplasm and goo. And it's at this point where they meet up with Sam, who similarly is now gawking at a movie starring 3 horror icons that are all spoofs of various other famous horror icons, but the difference being that they're women versions of them. And does remark that that she's very excited because the Friday of is when she is very visibly excited to go because it's the first time they're ever crossing over with one another. And also remarks that she got tickets for everybody and points out that they're going to be going. And of course Danny is very excited because he did promise that he would go with her. But to this point where they throw where we find out that something else comes up that throws an entire wrench in their plans, namely that Paulina then proceeds to walk over to the little group and hands them invitations to her quinceañera that same Friday, which of course frustrates everyone. Of course, Danny is kind of surprised because he's never gets invited, but she does point out that Paulina points out that of course she wants them all to be there, but also reveals that she has ulterior motives because obviously she's into Danny Phantom, and since realized that Danny Fenton and Danny Phantom are usually in the same place together. So she points out that if she invites Danny, that maybe Danny Phantom will come to her party. But of course, Danny, of course, because Paulina is a girl he likes, does decide to go, much to Sam's anger, because she points out that Danny had already made promises to go with her to the movies, and she cannot return the tickets. Unfortunately, they have to go to the movie. But Danny, of course, points out that it'll be fine, pointing out that that they never get invited to popular kids parties, like ever. Literally Danny has only ever been invited the one time, and that was because Jazz put in a good word for him. But he admits that they almost never get invited to these sorts of things, and does point out that it might be fun to go. But of course, Sam is very visibly angry about the fact that Danny is blowing off plans with her to go to Paulina's party, and then admits that maybe something will happen that'll cause the party to be canceled. But then admits that she wishes. But it's at this point where Desiree appears and pointing out that Sam did technically say "I wish." She then proceeds to use her powers to do exactly that, and of course it's at this point where everybody is currently in school, and of course Paulina is currently passing out flyers for her birthday, for her quinceañera, and hoping that everybody will be coming to hang out. And we've also find out in the process that there's also going to be a meteor shower, which Mr. Lancer reveals is in fact going to be a major event, but also warns about the dangers of meteor showers because with meteor showers they're essentially just giant space rocks that could very well hit you, and he of course does warn about the dangers by reminding everybody to wear a helmet when they go to see the meteor shower. Just make sure everybody is as safe as possibly can be, because he's a teacher, he worries about those kinds of things. But Paulina then proceeds to add that she's also her father has told her that the reason the meteor showers are choosing to fall is specifically because it is on her quinceañera, which of course makes it doubly special because her father claims that they're falling just for her. But of course, as Sam is as she proceeds to remark this, one of the horror movie icons from Sam's crossover movie thing, which are all, I should mention, are all based on different horror icons, so I will show them individually as they appear. The first one, of course, is Femalian, who is based on the Terminator, who is based on the either the Alien series or the Predator series. But the point being, well, probably the latter. But the point is, Femalian shows up and immediately starts going after Paulina to try and attack her. And of course, Mr. Lancer, it's interesting. Mr. Lancer immediately grabs a fire extinguisher and tries to fight it by beating Femalian in the back of the head with it. But then realizes that Femalian is completely unfazed by that. So he remarks that he tried, and then proceeds to pull the fire alarm, telling everybody to run. And of course, everybody immediately evacuates the school since there's something terrorizing it. And Danny uses the chaos as a cover to turn into his ghost mode, and proceeds to fight, and ultimately defeats the Femalian. But as Femalian is disappearing, he demands to know who sent her, and the Femalian merely utters Sam's name before fading from existence, which of course sets off all sorts of alarm bells in Danny's head. He quickly realizes something is going on, and sure enough, at lunch, he then proceeds to tell Sam about it, about how it said her name in a creepy manner before disappearing. And Sam points out that she doesn't even know that she can't possibly think that she was the one who actually sent it. But does remark that regardless of what's going on, he clearly knows that something is up, and Sam has something to do with it. So he then proceeds to remark that in the meantime, and he pulls out the Fenton deflector belt, Spectre deflector belt that was originally made for Maddie, but he pulls out the Fenton Spectre deflector and puts it around Sam's waist, pointing out that until he can figure out what exactly is going on and figuring out Sam's connection to the monster thing coming to life, he essentially tells her that it'll keep her from being a liability, which does upset her very visibly. But and of course, it's at this point where we find out that as once again Paulina is continuing to pass out invitations for her quinceañera when she's suddenly attacked by the second of the horror movie monsters, the Terminator, which is obviously a parody of the Terminator films, which are a horror film where in a dystopian future where everybody's a robot because we pissed off a government. I don't know the lore of the Terminator's movies, but I know that we pissed off some sort of AI government thing. And that is why they attack, and that is why they send robots to attack us. But in any case, Danny immediately leaves, but tells Sam to stay put. And Sam says she promises, but after Danny leaves to go fight evil, she responds, it's exactly like he promised her that she would go to the movies, and immediately follows after him. And Tucker, now being alone at the table with neither of them present, decides to help himself to Sam's chips. So, yeah. But in any case, Danny proceeds to try and face off against he then proceeds to try and face off against the Terminator, but quickly discovers that and also it tries to leap in front of Paulina, but it's at this point where Paulina decides to take the opportunity to reveal that she does have ulterior motives, pointing out to Danny Phantom specifically, pointing out that now that she has an invitation for Danny Phantom, pointing out that if he invites him directly, that she won't no longer have to fight the regular Danny and his loser friends, as she puts it, which of course catches him off guard long enough for Terminator to knock him into a nearby fountain. And of course it's the same wishing well that we saw from Desiree's debut episode, but he gets knocked into the wishing well by Terminator, but before Terminator can ultimately, and he does wind up shifting back into his human form, but before Terminator can finish him off, Sam uses her Spectre deflector belt to ram into the Terminator with her scooter and sends it flying into the water, and the Terminator similarly then proceeds to let out an ominous Sam before disappearing. And of course Danny is very visibly upset, pointing out that Sam was supposed to stay put because that's what he told her to do. But of course, Sam points out that he just saved Danny's butt, and does ask him if Paulina would have done the same. But Danny then proceeds to kind of become upset with her, pointing out that he's realizing that this is likely her fault, the same way there was with the lunch lady ghost. And the escaping gorilla, and a couple of other things that Sam has been responsible for throughout the series. That obviously weren't 100% her fault, but Danny blames her for them anyway. And this, of course, causes Sam to become very visibly hurt because obviously Danny is clearly doesn't appreciate her and what she's ultimately helped him with. So she then proceeds to yell out that she wishes she had never met Danny, and then proceeds to leave, with Danny realizing that he's screwed up big time because he's just pissed off one of the few real friends he has. But it's at this point where Desiree appears, and Danny immediately goes ghost, but also notes that Desiree is seemingly a lot more powerful. And of course Desiree then proceeds to reveal that yeah, she is a little bit more powerful, and explains why. As it turns out, Desiree gets more powerful the more wishes she grants. So, because she's been granting a couple of wishes lately, does remark that she's very much gotten a little bit more powerful. But then also proceeds to reveal to Danny that her end goal is that obviously the meteor shower is a thing, which means everybody is going to be making wishes at it. And her plan is to use the meteor shower to become a lot more powerful and become basically unstoppable. But does point out that she needs Danny out of the way, and fortunately for her, Sam just wished that the two of them had never met. And Danny eventually connects the dots and realizes that the reason this will be beneficial for Desiree is because he realizes Sam was responsible for him obtaining his ghost powers, which means that now that Desiree is granting her wish, Danny will no longer have his ghost powers. And sure enough, she does that, and Danny Phantom proceeds to no longer exist. And of course, the next day, Danny and Tucker are talking to each other, and Sam comes to Danny to apologize, pointing out that she obviously realizes they butt heads and got a little bit out of control, so she's come to apologize, but Danny has no idea who she is, and is visibly confused as to why she's talking to him. And of course, Sam proceeds to kind of jokingly point out that obviously it's a very funny joke about how she wished they had never met, and now Danny is pretending they never met. But of course, Tucker also reveals that he doesn't know her either, and then proceeds to wonder if she would like to know him. And Sam becomes a little bit grossed out because obviously her perceived best friend is flirting with her, and does point out and does wonder why they don't actually recognize him. But it's this point where we see Dash going through what he considers a quote-unquote personal record. He is currently shoving Mikey and a couple of other nerdy students that we've seen into a locker. And it's at this point where Mikey blurts out that he wishes he could show Dash what this felt like. At which point, Desiree proceeds to appear, and proceeds to grant Mikey's wish by turning him into a big hulking monster thing that can, shove people inside of lockers. And this, of course, Sam immediately realizes Desiree is responsible. That Desiree is responsible. She finally figures this out, tells Danny that she needs to go ghost and stop her. But Danny, what we find out is that Danny, because Danny Phantom was erased from existence, Danny is significantly more cowardly. And sure enough, Desiree just utters a single boo, and he goes running and screaming. And Desiree then proceeds to relish in the idea that Danny has no ghost powers and no memories, so she's very visibly happy, and realizes that this is going to work perfectly into her plans. And with that, she leaves, as Mikey shoves Dash and Quan into a locker, remarking that they'll never do it again and to please forgive him, at which point Mikey eventually comes to his senses, returns back to normal, then realizes what he's done and quickly slams the locker and runs off before Dash and Quan can get out. And of course, at this point where Sam is trying to figure out what exactly it is that's going on, and then proceeds to see that Danny left his locker open, and discovers an old photo of all three of them together, but notices that Sam is notably absent from the photo now. Like she has the original photo, because what we find out, her memories were seemingly not affected, and she eventually figures out why. But she does go through her personal photo album and does discover that yes, it is a different photo. It is the same photo but slightly different. And this of course makes her realize that she needs to figure out how to get through to Danny and figure out how to convince him that he's that she is exactly who he says he is, because obviously she's realizing Danny is not going to listen to her and wonders how she can actually get through the mind of a 14-year-old boy, but then realizes she's going to regret what she's about to do. And sure enough, at the Nasty Burger, Danny and that is their ship name, but no, Danny and Tucker do proceed to kind of talking at the Nasty Burger when Sam walks up and is revealed to have dolled herself up to make herself more traditionally pretty. And of course, Danny immediately shoves Tucker out of the way and tells her that she's more than welcome to sit down, while Paulina sees this entire situation from her own table and is very proud of Sam because, as she puts it, Sam gave up her individuality for a boy and is very proud of her. But In any case, it's at this point where Sam then proceeds to pull out her photo album and then proceeds to remark that they're best friend and that they're best friends and that she's trying to explain to him that they go way back and are actually secretly, that Danny secretly has ghost powers because of her and a bunch of other things, but. Of course, it's at this point where Sam then proceeds to where Danny doesn't fully believe her at first until Sam pulls out the photo album. And while obviously Danny initially believes that she just doctored an old photo of him and Tucker together by adding herself into it, he then proceeds to see some of the other pictures that she has about being in his lab when she has never been in the lab, according to himself. But also notes that there's a lot of pictures there that he just does not remember them doing together, and obviously has quite a few other memories as well. And eventually realizing that who Sam really is, he then proceeds to wonder who exactly it is she is if he can't remember her. And of course she proceeds to remark that they used to be they're best friends, but and reveals that she believes that the reason she was spared from Desiree's wish granting things is because of the Spectre Deflector that Danny gave her, which protected her from ghost energies, which means Desiree's wishes did not affect her like at all. So, of course, as she begins to explain what exactly it is that's going on, she then discovers that the final of the Monsters Nightmarica, which is based on Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, proceeds to burst through the wall of the Nasty Burger, and again proceeds to attack Paulina. And so this point where she tells Danny that he's got to go, but then realizes that she's on her own, and does decide to actually fight back against the monster that she helped create by using Tucker's hat as a mask, trimming eye holes in it so she can see, and then proceeds to use all the gadgets that she's personally responsible for carrying around to defeat the Nightmarica, namely the Jack of Nine Tails, which she uses to subdue her, and then the Phantom Thermos to capture her. Which, of course, Danny remarks that now they finally got his attention. But it's at this point where, it's where Danny now realizes that Sam was right, and proceeds to take her back to the house so she can explain. And Sam, at this point, realizes that the only way to stop Desiree, realizing now that her main goal is to use the meteor shower to become all powerful, because obviously everybody's going to be granting their wishes there. Then realizes that that's specifically why she got Danny out of the way. Then proceeds to, from memory, try and recreate the accident that created Danny Phantom. She goes through her photo album, sets everything exactly like it was the day that the accident happened, and does proceed to remark that, and does proceed to start fiddling with the dials, and asks Danny if he's ready to do this, but Danny merely remarks that no, he's not. But does remark that at the same time he is excited because he admits that he's always wanted to see what was inside the ghost portal, and of course Sam is very appreciative of that, and it's at this point where Danny then proceeds to put his jumpsuit on with Jack's face on it, but she then proceeds to pluck it off. And then reveal, and because this was established in the previous scene that I forgot to mention, because I'm doing these from memory, she proceeds to replace it with a logo of her own design that is supposed to represent him as Danny Phantom. And when Danny proceeds to ask her what exactly this is, she proceeds to remark that her trust her is going to look way better. And with that, Danny proceeds to recreate the exact scenario that caused him to become Danny Phantom, walking inside the ghost portal, accidentally turning it on from the inside, and merging with ectoplasm into his DNA, becoming Danny Phantom. But the key difference being that Danny now has his signature logo on his chest, something he did not have in the first season, but was part of his character arc for the longest time. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. But yeah, it's pretty fun. But in case with that, they are then prepared to go and get ready to face off against Desiree, and we quickly and at this point that night they proceed to head to where Sam's where her quinceanera, where Desiree's quinceanera is, and to where in any case, now that they have the ability to fight back against Desiree, they proceed to go to the quinceanera and remember the meteor shower. Specifically about but in any case, it's with that they now proceed to go to the meteor shower, where Paulina's quinceanera, where of course Paulina gets on stage and thanks everybody for coming, and also remarks that obviously it's getting ready to enjoy the quinceanera as well as the meteor shower, which she refers to as her own personal meteor shower. But in any case, it is at this point where Sam is watching with the binoculars and does tell both Tucker and Danny to not make any sort of wishes, because that'll of course make Desiree more powerful. But of course, it is at this point where Desiree then proceeds to appear, and sure enough, everybody is making wishes, while Danny proceeds to go ghost and use the abilities that he's using to try and make himself more powerful, to try and fight back against Desiree. But we also find out that Tucker accidentally wishes for something, which is one of those monster trucks that he saw, and Sam then proceeds to call him out for it, pointing out that he should really pay attention more. And sure enough, he summons an actual Desiree grants his wish and gives him an actual monster truck that actually tries to attack and kill him. And of course, it's at this point where Danny sees Desiree and proceeds to go and fight her. But then what we quickly discuss, and Desiree is initially very confused that Danny is there, and pointing out that he's not supposed to be there, not supposed to exist. But Danny of course then proceeds to declare that even though he doesn't really understand everything that's going on, he admits that he's not going to let some obviously evil person take over the world. So he prepares to fight her. But what we quickly discover is that obviously Danny has all of his powers back, but none of the experience, and Sam has to coach him through how to use some of them, including using his ghost rays, which of course Danny tries to use, by pointing out that he can summon it from her hands, but he quickly discovers that no, he instead fires it from his butt instead, which he points out is probably not normal. But Desiree is able to quickly realizes that Danny doesn't actually know what he's doing because he has no memories, and it's at this point where she quickly overpowers him, and then proceeds to grant everybody's wishes, becoming increasingly more powerful as the night goes on. But it's at this point where obviously she glows over the fact that Danny is unable to defeat her because Sam has obviously made her more powerful by wishing him out of existence, and as long as that happens, they're never going to be able to fight properly. And is this where Sam then proceeds to realize that she knows how to easily defeat Desiree, and proceeds to tell Desiree that she wishes that her previous wish of them never happened, but also wishes that Danny kept the logo that she designed for his suit, pointing out that she likes the suit the way he is and really likes how her logo turned out. And Desiree, unfortunately, then once again demonstrating that Desiree's biggest weakness is her own ghost powers, grants them. She grants her wish, and with that, all of Danny's memories return, including, surprisingly enough, a couple more trips to the girls' locker room, which is just a recurring gag throughout the memory sequence, where he's just going into the girls' locker room, using his ghost powers in that way. But of course, Danny, now having his full ghost powers back, then is able to effortlessly defeat Desiree and suck her into the Fenton thermos, with Desiree being very upset that she's ultimately did herself in again, and points out that she really needs to stop granting everybody's wishes, even if they're detrimental to her plans. But actually, especially if they're detrimental to her plans. But in any case, with that, all of the wishes that Desiree granted suddenly disappear and are undone, and Sam is very happy that Danny was able to finally beat it, and the two properly make up. But then Danny discovers that his suit is different, and wonders if Sam did something to it. And Sam then proceeds to tell him that it's always been that way, and he's just imagining something. But In any case, with Sam, but in any case, this is this point where where we then see the rest of Paulina's quinceañera, and of course, it's at this point where Sam proceeds to point out that she's expecting a trip from "quote unquote" Invisible and expecting his visit, and points out that he should probably keep his promise. At which point, Danny says that yes, he probably should. At which point, he takes Sam and Tucker to the movies, and the two of them then proceed to watch their Sam's crossover horror movie thing, and of course Sam then proceeds to point out that she's very happy things are back to normal, and admits that it was really dumb of them to have fought like that, and asks Danny if the promise if they to never fight again. At which point Danny responds rather cornily, she has wished it, so it shall be. Which, of course, the two of them blush at each other while Tucker then proceeds to tell them that he's right there. And that's how the episode ends. So yeah, this episode's cute because, first and foremost, it finally reveals Danny's ghost power, how Danny got his ghost powers in the actual story itself, rather than just, being shown in the intro for the longest time. And I do kind of like that. I do like how the story doesn't start with the origin story of Danny. It's just, he's already got his ghost powers and is already established to be fighting things, and then they recreate the way he got his superpowers by when Sam accidentally wishes his origin story out of existence. I find that very fun. But also this winds up becoming a recurring thing because for the rest of the series, and they actually altered the intro for this, but for the rest of the series, Danny now has a logo Sam made on his chest to represent the fact that he is Danny Phantom, a superhero with ghost powers, and I do find that kind of cute. But yeah, they did alter that, and they did ultimately alter that for the end. But I do like how the episode kind of also showcases that Sam is a lot more important to Danny's life than he realizes, because without her, without her, Danny would never have gotten his ghost powers. He would never become a superhero and start saving the day and all these other things. And also because of that, his life is a lot more interesting because of her. I do like that old end goal message. That obviously the two of them fight, but they make up and they realize how important they are to each other. I do like that. But in more ways than one, because obviously they're cute, because obviously they become a couple by the end of the story, but that's beside the point. But obviously, in any case, that's gonna do it for my review of Danny Phantom. So what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter in the description below. Again, check out my Discord, because we're going to be doing a horror movie watch-along thing in the Discord at the end of the month for the Halloween weekend. So please go check that out. And also, be sure and go and check out my Twitch. I stream Saturdays and Sundays, and I know a lot of you don't follow me over there, so please go do that. I stream Saturdays and Sundays. We're currently playing horror games throughout the month, so please go do that. And also be sure to go and check out my Discord, my Patreon if you want to support me. And finally, if you want to see more content from me, then be sure to check out the videos linked in the end screen. The top video is the most recent video. It may or may not be this video. Whereas the bottom video is a video recommended to you based on what you have already seen from me. So if you want to try something new, or see more of what you like, then be sure to check both of those videos out. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!